biggest barriers that we have as a community, as people, and in certain situations or relationships is communication, right? And it's being able to safely communicate what it is that we feel and what it is that we fear. And as men, vulnerability is a very, very razor thin line, right? Like, we want to express how we feel. We want to speak on these things. It's like as soon as we do, we start getting told how to feel. We start getting told what we feel. And that is a very dangerous thing, right? Because then as men, we start to revert back to what it was we were taught as children, which is to hold that shit up, man up, it's gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. You'll figure it out. Which are all valid points, however, it is vital that those expressions and feelings are capable of coming out versus being suppressed, because then what happens? Those kinds of things end up turning into anger, right? They start turning into frustration, and then we become volatile. It's like shaking up a can of pop and then trying to open it thinking that you're going to drink it or understand us in a certain manner. However, when we pop or when we explode, we're the issue. When if there was a safety net or an opportunity to speak in a safe manner, that kind of suppression wouldn't happen, that kind of volatility would not create itself. Something I learned how to do very recently, behind bars actually, was to be an empathic listener, right? Which means that whatever it is that's being said to me, I try to pay attention to each detail, right? I try to feel what it is that you're feeling and allow you to express yourself in a manner to where you feel like you can say what it is that you need to say and not have to hold it back. You can be truthful with yourself and you can be truthful with me at the same time. However, when that role is being reversed and the man needs to have someone to be empathic to his voice and to have an ear for him, that doesn't happen, right? We get told how we feel because no one wants to believe and trust the process that it is that we're going through, right? And that consideration is disturbing, right? Because the level drops when a man is speaking. However, it's supposed to raise when a woman is speaking. The perspective as far as truth, the perspective as far as that feeling, that mental stability is construed, right? Because there was a video I was watching that stated that no one gives a fuck about men's mental health until he's angry or volatile, which in turn turns us into what? A fucking bad guy, right? It's so fucking rare to find an opportunity or a circle where a man can speak the way that he needs to and not wear a mask. Me personally, I'm not afraid to speak on how I feel. However, I hold it back at times because I know that it won't be accepted or even appreciated. Can you imagine how the fuck it feels to go through life and none of your perspective, thought processes, or feelings are appreciated? However, you have to reciprocate that thing for somebody else. I've been on this planet for 35 fucking years and I still have not found a safe zone to be able to feel or communicate the way that I need to. And I know I'm not alone with that thought process. The anxiety that comes behind that is detrimental. That fight or flight mechanism kicks in, right? And like I said, we either become that angry person or we shut the fuck down, suppress, and then we're still angry because now we have to shut down and suppress. We're seen as having an attitude. We're seen as not being able to express or have the correct dialogue, right? And then our body language represents that. It's extremely nerve-wracking to not be able to let these things out And as a community, as a whole, and I'm speaking men and women at this point, we have to start being capable of allowing each other to communicate so that certain issues don't present themselves. And if those issues do present themselves, we should be able to communicate in a manner of being able to resolve said issue. It should not have to boil over or spill into some kind of disagreement or argument. When you feel away, I feel away. There should be an understanding in the middle ground, right? Even if we have to agree to disagree, the situation should not turn volatile. It's alarming that even in this day and age, it's become fucking worse. Before, when I was a shorty, it was dial-up phones or walk to a motherfucker or handwritten sentiment. Now when people don't want to discuss or don't want to conversate or don't want to communicate, they pick up their phone and jump on TikTok, they pick up their phone and jump on social media, they talk about people subliminally in different memes and different videos, and they say this and say that without actually saying it. Why is that okay? Why is it not okay to actually hear a person? If you're telling me how you feel about something, I'm gonna listen to how you feel about that. If I'm telling you how I feel about something, you should be capable of listening to how I feel about it. We're gonna revert back to the empathic listening. That is how you listen with empathy. Every situation does not deserve sympathy. However, there should be some kind of empathy. And to disregard that creates a lot of this confusion, disruption, and volatility that's in society today. I personally am tired of being looked at as the villain. I used to accept being a bad guy. I'm not okay with that though. Not anymore. Because I've had to sit and be everybody's motherfucking stable ear. I've had to sit and be everybody's help. Yet when my insides are fucking crying, I have to go find a bottle. I have to go find a blunt. Or I have to get violent to feel any kind of release. You tell me, is that all right?